Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Soul Goals. I am Dawn, and today I get to speak to an awesome dude from Florida, because right now in Tennessee, it is disgustingly gross. And all I can see behind you right now, Dylan, is this beautiful blue sky. And I'm so jealous because it's winter time in Nashville. Snow last week, rained, yuck, 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 yuck. So Dylan has agreed to kind of give us some insights to his story and his path along the way. Let me tell you, Dylan is the head coach at, and I'm going to say the Jacksonville University in Jacksonville, Florida. And I'm going to, maybe I'm going to start something there. We're going to call it the Jacksonville University, like the Ohio State University. Can we start that?
Yeah, you might ruffle some feathers, but I'm okay with it.
It's okay. It's all right. It's my
I'll
opinion.
allow it. Yeah.
Okay. I just think it sounds cool. But the Jacksonville University head beach volleyball coach. Along the way, however, he was a juniors volleyball coach as well. He has also coached on the AVP circuit too, of professionals along the way. And recently, was it last year? I believe it was you were named to the 30 under 30. So dude is under 30 years old, named to a pretty prestigious situation called, you know, 30 under 30. Like that's a big deal.
It was, I think in 2021, I'm no longer under 30, but I do appreciate it.
Yes, time marches on. Time marches on. Yeah. But without further ado, I would love to welcome to the show Dylan Hough, all the way from Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you for being here. Let's go.
Thank you for spending the time. I am a big fan of the Cunningham family for a variety of reasons. So,
Yeah, well, awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're so glad that you have the time to, and you're like right in the middle of your day. Um, Okay, interestingly enough, one of your athletes is pretty near and dear to my heart. I got to meet you in 2021 via FaceTime when COVID recruiting was happening. I listened to you on Colin Wilson and Michael Hobson's podcast talking a little bit about that whole time frame, that COVID time frame as a head coach having to recruit athletes.
yeah, it
Dude.
was not fun. It was really hard. It was really difficult. Especially at this, I was like the head coach for maybe 3 weeks when I had to do all that. So
Yeah.
that was my first experience recruiting anybody. So that was a very welcome introduction to the college coaching scene. Not something I would prefer to do again, but I'm glad
Yeah.
that I got the experience to do that. And now it makes it way more fun when I get to meet people in person because I wasn't able to do that at one point.
Yeah, no, right, right. And I think that's golly, all the things that you have to consider when you're recruiting somebody. I mean, they're going to be a person in your program, not just an athlete. I mean, it's a whole dynamic, and we can talk about that in a little bit too. I want to hear kind of a little bit more about what you look for when you are recruiting athletes to the program that you're at currently, and kind of what the background is for you. But during that whole time, I just can't imagine how difficult when you can't see somebody face to face in the flesh. Like when you're doing this all on computer and you're texting and you're Zoom calling and all of that, how difficult that was. And you said you were just a new head coach 3 weeks in. Like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty early on. So the idea when I got hired was to kind of build a beach program. It had been mainly the indoor program, just kind of had the side thing with the beach team, and there
Mhm.
were maybe like six or I think maybe eight was the largest beach only group that Jacksonville had prior to that. And they hired me with the idea of splitting the programs into two and making the beach team
Okay.
into kind of what it is now. And so they were like, all right, well, you need to build a roster from 6 to 16, but also
Wow.
you can't recruit anyone in person. So good luck. And so not only was it I didn't get to meet anybody and it was all virtual, I had to get 10 of them to
That's
agree to come
it's
here and play for me.
incredibly crazy.
Yeah, it's wild to even think about. Like I'm allowed to do all that stuff now, and I still don't think I would. It'd be really difficult to get 10 people to come here, and just the amount of time you have to spend with all that process times
Yeah.
10 is difficult. So I don't know how we managed to work it out in the short period of time that we did. And they
Yeah.
were all seniors too, so it was not like now where I have been talking to some of these girls for 2 years before they come here. It's
Right.
like I met in quotations, these student athletes. They're the end of their fall of their senior year, and so it was all a very, very quick process as well, which was
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe I'm a good judge of character. Maybe I got extremely lucky. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle. But
Yeah.
uh, to be able to get 10 of the quality of people that we got in the door was pretty remarkable looking back at it.
Yeah, for sure. I kinda wanna I feel like I'm doing like a squirrel moment. I'm kinda jumping all around, but let's go back just for a second. What was your first experience with volleyball? Because it didn't start beach was not your first experience, was it?
It was.
Oh, wait.
I
Okay.
yeah. So we didn't. I grew up in Naples, so Southwest Florida, and there was no boys volleyball down there.
Mhm.
And so like I played little league baseball growing up, and then I played basketball in middle school, and then I played football in high school. And
Oh
so
my
I was
gosh.
never. We didn't have like I didn't know that volleyball existed until maybe like my senior year of high school, when I became friends with some of the girls on the team, for our high school team, which they were pretty good. I think we had like 5 of the 6 starters go up to college, so it was good. We had a good
Yeah.
high school team, and so it was fun to go and watch their games. And then after I graduated high school, I ended up dating a girl who was playing in college at the time, and she kind of introduced me to the sport.
Okay.
And so we started playing beach over the first summer that we were together, and that was kind of my introduction to the sport. And growing up in Naples, where everything is like 10 minutes from the beach,
Yeah.
it was just like all the guys down in that area. That's what they did. There was no indoor, so everyone just kind of played beach.
Yeah.
And so like we started doing private lessons with Nick Sweat and
Oh my
his
gosh.
yeah. Sometimes his wife Brooke would come, and we would play co-ed, and not realizing that she was a future Olympian at the time. But
Yeah.
like
She
for
hadn't done
me,
any of that yet, had she?
she was out on the pro tour and doing that stuff, and she was obviously like one of the best players in Florida, but not anywhere near the level of she was when she qualified for the Olympics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she was like a celebrity beach volleyball player down there, and
That's
so it's
awesome.
cool to learn from them. And like Nick is a great coach, and obviously Brooke knows a lot about the game, and
Mhm.
Chris is obviously a great coach down at FGCU, and
Mhm.
so those three taught me a lot about the game, and kind of that was like my introduction. And I'll never forget the first tournament I went to. I didn't even know beach volleyball tournaments were a thing, and you've experienced them and how big they are and how much fun it is. And so we signed up to play this co-ed tournament. And if you've never been to a beach tournament, it's like men's and women's play on Saturday, and then juniors and co-ed is on Sunday. So
Yes.
we signed up to play co-ed double B, which is like the lowest level that there was.
Yeah.
And so this was we signed up for Sunday, and so I wanted to go check it out on Saturday because I had literally never been to a tournament. I didn't know tournaments existed until like that week. And so
Okay.
we drive down to Fort Myers Beach, and it's a Dig the Beach tournament. And I get there, and it's like it had to have been like 1,000 people playing volleyball on the beach. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything
Wow.
like it.
Yeah.
And I start watching center court. Men's Open is playing, and there's this guy playing on center court, and he's wearing like this baggy T-shirt and this gold chain, and he's like talking smack and like getting into it with the crowd, and he's like hitting the serve that's going like 100 feet up in the air. And I was just my mind was blown. I'd never seen anything like it. It was so much fun and entertaining
Yeah.
to watch. Turns out
I
it's
bet you
Adrian Carambulo was the
I was just gonna
um,
say, who was that?
before he moved to Italy. But he it was just so entertaining. You watch it now, and it's just like the craziest thing to watch. And so like you can imagine me never being anywhere remotely involved with the sport, and seeing this as my first experience, it was just like this is the coolest thing ever. Like this is so much
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, and it was pretty cool. Like it's just your first experience being watching Adrian, who's now about to be a two-time Olympian for Team Italy, which is
Yeah, right.
pretty crazy.
Right. So the real question is how did you do in the tournament on Sunday?
We made it out of pool play. Uh,
Perfect.
yeah, we lost in the first round of playoffs, so we finished like ninth or something. So
It's all
it
good.
went way better than it could have gone, I guess, for my first tournament. But I guess being in double B, playing with a girl who played in college, I'm sure either
Mhm.
one of your daughters, if they played a double B tournament with just a guy off the street, they would probably make the playoffs. So
Oh,
I don't want to take too much
yeah,
credit for how far we got.
you're so funny. Well, I think though, what a really cool first experience for you, and to have that memory and the people along the way that, like, a lot of my listeners won't know who some of these people are, but I'm just gonna say these are big names now. Like that you were training alongside and being able to play alongside and being able to watch, like, courtside, like right there. Um, I think one of the things that I love about beach volleyball is how dynamic it is. 2 on 2. It's that you don't have 6 people on the court. It's 2 versus 2, but it's also very relatable and approachable. People are very relatable, very approachable. I mean, I can't serve over the net. You can ask either of my daughters. It's really funny. They've tried. I just it doesn't go anywhere for me. I can pass the ball pretty good. I can pepper pretty well, but I can't serve. But I, like, will watch them play, or I'll watch a professional play, and I'll leave there going, "Dude, yeah, I can do it. This is me. I'm up." Like, they make me believe that I can do it. Yeah, it's such a fun game. What's the best part of the game for you? Like, when you're playing, or do you still play some, don't you?
I dabble. I don't have the time to play as much now as I would
Right.
like. I'll still play every once in a while, but I don't really play tournaments much anymore. But I think my favorite part about it is just the atmosphere, and you're at the beach, and it's it's a fun atmosphere. It's almost
Mhm.
like, especially when I first started playing, it was a big party. Like, you go to the beach and you play this tournament, and you're competing against everybody, and you're like trying so hard to beat all these people. But like, after the tournament, you go to the players' party and everyone's hanging out and having a drink and having fun, and just getting to socialize with the same people you were competing against that day is a lot of fun. And then, like, if you go to a pro tour event, like an AVP event, like, it's you get to be literally courtside, and like the athletes there accessible to the public, and
Yeah.
like the pro players on tour are very like easy to connect with, and like they will go out of their way to meet with fans and spectators, and just kind of it's you like, if you went to an NFL game, you can't get. I am a season ticket holder for the Jags, and I can't get within like half a mile of Trevor Lawrence. Like, there's no way.
Right.
But if I would go to an AVP tournament and I want to talk to Taylor Crabb, you can just go up to Taylor Crabb and say, "Hey man, how you doing?" Like, and just have a conversation with these people, and so
So
that
funny.
makes it like a lot more fun from a spectator side, but also from an athlete side too. Like, it's cool to connect with those people and get to hang out with people you're competing against, and it's just kind of one big community. And I think that was like one of the bigger draws to me when I started playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me how you ended up in Jacksonville then, because I know from knowing you that you love the city that you're in and you love where you are. What, how did you end up there?
Yeah, Jacksonville's cool. It's a cool place.
I love it. I mean, it's like to me, it's like a little big city. It's almost like a kind of like we call Nashville, like a little big city, and it's growing, which is great.
Yeah, I bounced around a few places and I coached a different few places. And then when I there used to be this college tournament called Fiesta on Siesta, and it was like
Okay.
maybe 30 or 40 college teams would play on Siesta Key Beach in Florida, and they had like the team format where it was the 5 pairs for 5 pairs, and they also had a pairs tournament. So you send your best pairs, and they play like a bracket style, and it
Yeah.
was so cool. And one year I went and watched because I had been training and playing with Chris Sweat from FGCU, and his team was going up there to play. So I went up to watch, and I was so amazed at the college style, and the format was so cool. Like, the team versus team aspect, instead of just like 2 on 2, it was 10 on 10,
Okay.
which was so unique. And I thought it was so cool. And I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I was living in Naples, and there's not, like, it's FGCU is down there, but there's not any other programs that are like just there's not anything that exists down there. And so I
Right.
was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And I looked up some of the rosters, and most staffs at the time had a head coach, assistant coach, and some of them had a volunteer assistant who was
Right.
usually like a younger person trying to get their foot in the door, get like experience and that kind of stuff. And So I narrowed my destinations down to two, and I was trying to decide between Tampa and Jacksonville.
Okay.
And Tampa's got a bunch of beach programs down there. They have obviously the University of Tampa. There's
Mhm.
also Eckerd, St. Leo's down there.
Yeah.
Um, Florida Southern's maybe like 45 minutes away in Lakeland.
Right?
So there's a lot to choose from. And then Jacksonville obviously had Jacksonville University and the University of North Florida.
Mhm.
And I think the deciding factor was my sister and her family. So my brother-in-law and my niece lived in Jacksonville, and so it made it easier for me to choose Jacksonville because I had family here, and
Yeah.
like I'd be moving somewhere new, but I would have people here already, and it wasn't like a completely new experience for me. Like I had people to lean on and
Yeah.
people to help me move and to get settled in and to show me around and all that stuff. And so Jacksonville was what I decided on, and so I emailed the two coaches. It was Steve Loswick at the time was the head
Wait,
coach at UNF.
wait, okay, he was at UNF. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so
That's been a
he
bit.
was yes, this was like the summer of 2016. He was the head coach at UNF. So I
Okay.
emailed him, and I emailed Julie Doherty, who was the head coach at Jacksonville,
Mhm.
and UNF had a volunteer already, and Emily Strack, and so I never heard back from Steve. He didn't. He ghosted me. He never even responded to my email.
Wait, have you talked to him since that? And you've been like,
I mean,
"Dude."
we've talked. I've played against him 100 times, but I don't think I ever brought up the fact that I asked to be his volunteer.
Oh, no.
Um, I don't know. He probably just went to his drunk email and he never saw it. I
Oh,
don't know.
no.
But Julie emailed me back maybe like 4 hours later. It was the same day, and she was like, "Yeah, we're open to the idea. Like, let's set up a phone interview." And so I did like a FaceTime or whatever Zoom was before Zoom existed,
Yeah.
and it was me, Julie, and Addison, who was the assistant at the time, and
Okay.
we did a phone interview, and they like discussed it, and we're like, "Yeah, like we're gonna offer you the position of volunteer if you want to do that. Like, we'll give you like a week or two to figure out what you want to do, and you can just call us back and let us know."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, like I don't need 2 weeks. Like I'm in. Like yes, I want to do that. Let's do
Yeah.
it." And so I drove up and I did the whole campus tour, very much like a high school kid, just
Mhm.
touring the college. And Julie showed me around, and I got to see campus, which is it's an incredible campus. It's very green and
Yes.
beautiful. There's trees and plants, and we're right on the St. Johns River, and it's just a cool campus is a cool atmosphere. And then I got to see the beach courts, which I'm at right now, and I fell in love with it immediately. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the coolest setups in the country.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
so I was like, yeah, like this is it. This place is awesome. Let's do it. And so I moved
Okay.
up here, taking the volunteer job. I got a job at a grocery store um, to make some money because I was working, I was coaching for free. So
Right.
I had another job, a full time job at a grocery store in Ponte Vedra, and so
Mhm.
I would go to work in the morning and then drive like 30 to 40 minutes from Ponte Vedra to downtown and work at Jacksonville, and I would do that 5 days a week.
Okay.
And then the further we got into our season, the less time I would spend in my actual job, and the more time I would spend working for free.
Yeah.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and so I ended up finishing in the red, I think, that year, but I had a blast doing it, and it was so much
Yeah.
fun. Um,
Well, that was what I was gonna ask you, like, how I know as the season gets busy, and as a volunteer or an assistant or anything within a group that you're on the road, you're at home, there's so many different things that go into putting on a tournament of any capacity, like, that you couldn't work. Like, how did like, you're living on a shoestring at that point?
Pretty much, yeah. That's been pretty much the story of my coaching career is
Mm,
um, just figuring out paycheck to paycheck. But luckily, I was the volunteer, so I didn't have a lot of responsibility. I didn't have to be there for
yeah,
much other than practice, and I would maybe go into the office once or twice a week for like an hour to kind of plan the week of practice.
okay.
So it was cool that like I was the volunteer, so I was the third person in command, but it was two people who were primarily focused on indoor, so they gave me a lot of freedom in terms of like I planned most of the practices, I ran most of the practices,
Okay.
obviously with their help, but like as far as like the volleyball stuff, like I had a lot of say into it, but
Mhm.
I wasn't really. I wasn't involved in any admin stuff or planning or scheduling or literally anything but the volleyball stuff. So
So before
I
you came on board, they were, like, splitting double detail right here,
yeah.
indoor
So
and beach.
the assistant indoor, the associate indoor head coach was the beach head coach. So Julie
Okay.
would go and still do indoor and recruit and all that stuff, and Ryan and myself would do a majority of the heavy lifting for beach, and then
Yeah.
Julie would be around for game days and stuff like that and the occasional practice. But she had to run two programs, so she was very, very involved with the indoor
Yeah.
program and making sure that that was running efficiently and making sure she was able to spend time recruiting and all that stuff. So she wasn't there all the time. She was there
Mhm.
obviously when she could, and it's not like she would intentionally dismiss us, but she just had a lot on her plate, and so it was
Yeah.
majority Ryan and myself running most of the stuff,
Okay.
and then Julie kind of was around when she was available.
Right. Right. So all of that culminated in that was your first season, collegiate season as a coach in any capacity.
Yeah,
How was
yeah,
that first season?
it was so much fun.
Oh,
The team was it was pretty good. Like this was still like before beach exploded and became a big thing. So most teams had a few beach kids and a lot of indoor kids, and
mhm.
like the indoor kids, most of them played two sports their whole career here. So they it's not like they were just indoor players. Like they were crossover girls like for their whole career. So they were pretty good at doing both. And
Yeah.
so I think we won. I think we only won like we won like 7-15 that year. It was uh, this was before everyone played 100 matches every weekend and tried to play
Yeah.
as many as you could. So we only played I don't know what that is 23 matches and we won seven. But
Okay.
it was a lot of fun and like Julie took the team. Her big philosophy with scheduling was like once every cycle, so once every 4 years, she would try to the girls who lived far away and have play a tournament close to home. And
Okay.
so we had a few indoor girls from out west, and so we flew out to Arizona for the first weekend that year, and we played Arizona, Arizona State, Hawaii, and maybe it was just three. But
That's awesome.
they were all ranked in the top 20 at the time, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
we lost 5-0 to Hawaii and to Arizona. But uh, a fun fact: my first ever like match, not the whole 5-on-5 duel, but my first match with one pair. Um, Me and Katie Krozik and Vanessa Richards. Katie was my volunteer assistant, and then she moved back to Orlando to work for the Magic. But Katie and Vanessa
Okay.
beat Arizona State in the fours, and
Okay.
Brad Keenan, who was their head coach at the time, it was
Yeah.
his first match as a college coach as well, and he was like an AVP pro. He won some tournaments at the pro level,
Yeah.
and so for me, being like it's 2016, so I was like 25 or 20,
That you're
24,
like their
25 at the
age,
time.
basically.
And it was so much fun getting to beat an AVP player in my first match, and we obviously lost 4-1. But like for them, for those two to pull it out was in three sets was pretty fun, and like that
Yeah.
kind of set the tone for how much fun I was going to have that year. And um, so yeah, it was fun. Like I said, I didn't have any responsibilities, so like I just did the volleyball stuff, which was is obviously the fun part of the job. And so
Yeah.
I had a blast, and I had to step away after that first season because I was not making any money, and it was very difficult.
Yeah.
But um, it was probably the most fun I had as a coach, like up until now, at least.
So what did you do then? You stepped away, but when did you come back? Were you still involved in volleyball when you had stepped
Yeah,
away?
so I took a job coaching indoor club
Okay.
in Jacksonville, and I like ended up working my way up to like the assistant club director. I was the director of the beach program at the club, and
Yeah.
so we did some cool things, and like it was fun. I'm not a huge fan of indoor club volleyball, but I knew like we had 70 girls in the program, and I knew all 70. I knew their parents, and like I enjoyed that part of it, and getting to know the
Mhm.
kids, and like getting to see young athletes from like 12 or 13 years old to graduating high school is really cool to see
Yeah,
the
their
difference.
development
And
process for sure.
yeah, and we've got one of them coming here next year who
Okay.
I coached her first indoor season. She was a mini club, so she was in middle school, and
Oh my
it was
god.
like her 13th year or something, and she's committed to come play indoor for us next year. So
That's like a full circle moment for you.
It's so cool. Like as soon as the first date when she was a junior, where I was allowed to talk to her, I talked to her. I said, "You gotta come play with
Oh, I
Jacksonville."
love it.
So she's coming here next year. We're really excited, but like just to
Mhm,
get to see the development of because there's such a big difference between
mhm.
their first tournament and then 4 years later. Like stuff that they have is exponential at
Yeah.
that age, and so that part of it's fun. I could talk to you for 20 hours about how much I dislike indoor law and all the things that come with it, but
Yeah.
we don't have to get into that. But I coached club for three
Yeah, I agree.
three years.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that club stuff for like 3 or 4 seasons.
Mhm.
Ended up like COVID happened, so that was like the beginning of club season in 2020, which was like the perfect excuse for me to get away from it. Like I've
Yeah.
been like wanting to not do it, and I wanted to start my own beach program and like run a full year-round beach club, which is what I wanted to do. And so
Okay.
COVID happened, and the indoor season got shut down, and so I was like bummed, but like also I was like, this is really convenient timing for me to just get out of this. Um,
Yeah.
since we don't have a season, I'm just going to step away and do other things. So obviously, there's no work going on. I didn't make any money for like March, April, May, maybe
Yeah.
into the summer. I don't remember. It was just there was nothing going on. There was nothing happening.
Right.
And then
Right.
me and a buddy of mine, we did start our own beach program, our beach club. We didn't have that many kids yet because it was still like the summer of COVID. There weren't that many people
Mhm.
doing a lot of stuff, but
Mhm.
you were allowed to go outdoors and play outdoor sports. And so we were like, all right, let's get this thing going. Let's start our club. And we did it for maybe like a month or two, and um, I decided to reach back out to JU and
Okay.
see if I could come back and be the volunteer again. Um,
Yeah.
and so there were two girls that were on the roster who were taking their COVID year because they lost that season, so they got a season back.
Okay.
And they were the two girls that were there when I was the volunteer in 2017. Morgan Dees was a grad student, and Shaylee Beefus was in her senior year. And so I was like, there had been a lot of transition at JU, and they had some um, maybe not great experiences with the variety of coaching staff that they had. And so my idea was just I'm going to come back and volunteer and
Mhm.
just give them like a good, happy, fun senior year and just do what I
Yeah.
can to make the experience something that is going to send them off on a positive note and in a good direction. And so I came back to JU as the volunteer, and I think I maybe came to 3 practices as the volunteer. And then
Okay.
the guy in charge ended up getting uh, let go for some NCAA recruiting violations.
Yeah.
We don't have to go into detail, but
Yeah.
they got rid of him, and it had been maybe like 2 or 3 weeks that I had been back, and very convenient timing for me to come back on campus. And
Uh-huh.
Maggie, who was the indoor coach at the time, called me and said, "You want to interview for the job?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Yes.
nothing I would want more than to interview for that job." And so I
Yeah.
interviewed, and they hired me as I was labeled as the assistant coach because Maggie was technically the head coach.
Right.
But that was the season that indoor got pushed to the spring. So I
Right.
was the assistant. I was working. I was on staff as part time. I was making $15,000, and I was the only person on staff.
You were it. Like, you were
It
the
was
program.
just me. It was just me. I had to do everything. And
Yeah. And how many
um,
players did you have at that point? Because I know at one point you talked about only having, like, 8 players.
yeah, we had 10. We started with 10. We finished the year with 8 beach
Oh,
only. Two of the kids got COVID and got into some trouble, and we had to move on. So we had 8 at the end of the year. Luckily, indoor season ended in like mid March. So
okay.
I had 4 girls that played beach for like 4 weeks for us. So I got the roster to 12 by the conference tournament. But I mean,
Which
they
is
had
helpful. And I don't know, like, if you don't know about beach volleyball, that when you go into a tournament, it's 5 teams. They call them lines, basically. So there's got to be a minimum of 10 players. A minimum of 10 players,
yeah,
because
and we
if
had
there's
8.
not, you start out losing one of your lines. You're already down.
Yeah, so we played our first 2 matches at home against Erskine that year, and we won 5-0, 5-0. So that was so much fun.
Yes.
And I was so naive in thinking that like we were just gonna be really good for some whatever. I don't know what delusion I was into, but and then two of them got COVID, so we had eight for like a month, and so we started half a season down 0-1 every duel, which is really hard to come back from,
Yeah, right.
especially when you don't. It's just eight. Like you don't. It's not eight that you get to pick from. It's just you have
It's
eight.
you gotta move those 8 around to the best of your ability and, like, who's gonna play where and how's it gonna best benefit the team. Yeah, that's hard. It's like a chess match.
Yeah. So add that onto me getting thrown into all the other responsibilities that I didn't even know existed,
Yeah.
and so it was. And then I had to recruit 10 kids without meeting them. So that year was just all of it into one with only me on staff. I don't know how we got through it. I'm
Yeah.
honestly a little shocked that I decided to come back for a second year. Um, and
Well,
and the two
I
two girls that we have that are seniors now were there for that was their freshman year. I'm really surprised that they stuck around too.
okay, but that whole time period had to have been a blur, like, just a
It was
blur.
it was crazy. We had to COVID test like twice a week, and just we had to wear masks in the vans, and
Yeah.
we couldn't go out to eat. You had to get to go only eat in your hotel rooms. No visitors in the hotels. So the
Wow.
girls are all locked in their hotel rooms. Um, yeah, it was. I don't even.
We're glad that
it is a
chapter is
blur.
behind us.
Yeah, I can't imagine now having experienced a real season from the back and
Yeah. No, it would be
really
extremely
doing that.
challenging. Yeah, extremely. Did you always know that you wanted to be a coach, or did you have aspirations of being a player?
I
Or
really
both?
wanted to play. I really wanted to play,
Okay.
but being 5'9" made it extremely difficult. Um, and I worked my butt off. I tried so hard, and
Mhm.
but like also like I was only coaching and not making any money, so I was broke and trying to pay for tournaments, and
Yeah.
just I was kind of irresponsible in my young adult life. Just I I don't know what I was thinking, but like I thought I could just survive on making like $700 a month and also trying to pay for tournaments and work out
Yeah.
and have a gym membership and be able to eat healthy and all that stuff. So it was it was fun. I enjoyed it and I got pretty good, but um, very difficult to like the AVP is tough to break into, and you have to
Yeah.
spend $2,000 to go sign up for the tournament and fly out to the tournament and get a hotel for the tournament and eat and all that stuff
Right.
just to play in the qualifier where you're probably not going to get in.
Right.
And so like that's it's a grind, and it takes a little bit of financial freedom to be able to go out and do all that. And so I tried
Yeah.
that for a little bit, unsuccessfully, and so I stuck to more of my like local tournaments and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
I did try to play, and ultimately I wanted to do something that was able to keep me around the sport, and like I would still be able to have time to play. Like I get summers off and winters off and that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
I wanted to be able to do both, but also like I wanted to do it full time, ideally, and so it took a while to get to where I'm at now, or to where I am able to like live a comfortable life and not have to live paycheck to paycheck. But like that
Right.
was a pretty big struggle. Like coaching volleyball is not very lucrative unless you're like in the Power Five, and
Right.
so there's not that many people who make like a living, like a very like comfortable living where you're coaching volleyball full time, and uh,
Yeah.
so it's hard to break into. But like I wouldn't have changed it for anything. I got a lot of good experience out of it and cool stories to tell, and met some cool
Yeah.
people along the way, and it's just it kind of you can talk to a lot of beach volleyball coaches or players, and I think they would kind of be on the same page. Like there's uh, it's more experience based and relationship based as opposed to like the financial part of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big materialistic person anyway. I don't own a lot of things, and so like I really don't care. I don't mind. Like I made $15,000 that one year, and it was the
Yeah.
most I had ever made at the time coaching volleyball. And I was like, this is really cool. I'm
Yeah.
making more money than I am making doing clubs. So like
Yeah.
was was cool at the time until I realized I wanted to do
Until
it.
you realized
So I
differently.
realized I had to pay rent and all that stuff and pay for car payments and whatever. But
Yeah.
um,
But it's
yeah, it was.
perspective,
It
it's
really is,
perspective.
yeah. And so on that topic of perspective, like now that I'm making enough money to have like disposable income and stuff like that, like I really appreciate it more now because I there
Mhm.
was a point in time where I was making like 400, $500 a month to coach volleyball, and
Yeah.
So like now every paycheck that I get, I'm like, this is way way more than I had ever made before. And so even though it might not be the greatest lifestyle for me, it's way more than enough to keep me going, and like it's definitely makes it like the hard times worth it, and like it
Mhm.
just it's not a lot, but to me it's a lot. So it's cool. It works out pretty well.
Yeah, well, I think it's meaningful, and I think that kinda goes across the board for anything that you really work super hard at to try to get like, if it's a passion of yours and it's something that's really, really driving you, I think that it's a I mean, to get to that point where you can look back and say, "I'm really glad that I stuck it out, and I'm really thankful," and the perspective, like you said, it's just wow, it's you're filled with gratitude for what it is that you're doing, and then that brings a whole different delivery to what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm grateful every single day that I get to be out here, and I try to push that onto our team as well.
Yeah.
And it just like it helps me with the coaching stuff too, because I've been in so many stressful situations in my life to where this stuff is volleyball is not stressful at all to me. And
Yeah.
like people ask me all the time, like, how are you so like you see me on the bench? Like I am so relaxed and so
Mhm.
calm, and it's just
Mhm.
I've been through so many situations to where like real life stresses to where the volleyball stuff is the best part of my day. And
Yeah.
if we're in a tight match and it's 19-19 and we need points, like that's still like so easy compared to relative things in life to where it's just
Yeah.
like another it's fun and it's a cool environment and it doesn't stress me out, and so it makes the coaching part that much easier too. So it
Mhm.
kind of has like it's put me in a good position to where I'm at and to where I'm able to do a lot of stuff and not get flustered or worried
Yeah.
or whatever, and it just life is pretty easy now. And
Yeah. You don't lose sight of that, I think, and I think that's important as you go through your career, as all of us go through our career, is to not lose sight of that trajectory that got you there, and those moments that were hard, you know?
yeah, for sure.
'Cause that's really what I think that's really what makes I mean, that's obviously what drives your character and makes you the person that you are at the end of the day. Yeah, like, would you go back and redo all of that stuff? That's my question.
I think I would like times that were I've slept in my car and not had places to live and couch surfed and all that stuff. But again, like if it got me to where I am now and is able to leave me with the perspective that I have now and the relationships that I built along the way, like
Mhm.
time sucked in the moment, but like now looking back, like I think it all built character and kind of made me who I am now. And
Yeah.
so no, I wouldn't like looking it would be easier to say I would take the easier path, but it's at this point, like I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot. I'm in a cool place right now. So I don't think I think I would do it over again. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Just all the stuff that's happened along the way is cool and whatever. It builds character, and I
Mhm.
have lifelong friends through all of that and lifelong experiences that I get to learn from. And also, I get to help my student athletes now get through situations that they might think are hard, but uh, if you have the right perspective on it, you can kind of make it through. And so
Yeah.
I think it makes me better at my career as well as well as like my just personal development
Yeah, and it you wouldn't ha you like, the course of time and the course of events would not have been the same,
for
and where
sure.
you are wouldn't have been the same.
Right.
And I'm sure that wherever you would have ended up, you would have found an appreciation for that and an understanding and an awareness for it, but how cool is it that it's something that's always been kind of a passion for you and a drive and something that you really, really enjoyed? Like, something popped up on social media earlier today about, enjoy what you do for a living and you'll never work one day of your life. That's that old adage that's, always been out there. I mean, but that's kind of what you've been able to do, kind of what you've been able to create for your life and create for yourself. But along the way, when you were sleeping in your car or couch surfing, I mean, were you tempted to just say, screw it? Like, I can't do this anymore.
I don't think I ever did,
Okay.
honestly. I am very stubborn
Okay.
and I have fought with people about this time and time again. I could have made better decisions, yes, of course, but um, no, I don't think I ever second guessed it. And my
Mhm.
whole thing was like, it was just I had plan A and plan A only, and there was no plan B to fall
Yeah.
back on, and so like I was gonna make it work regardless. Um, and that was just the way that I saw things. And again, I'm very, very stubborn. People try to talk me out of it and tell me to do different things, but I was just so convinced that what I was doing was gonna work that I never looked back and I never kind of pivoted or anything. I just kept going at it and kept my head down and went to work. And uh, I want to say I knew it would all work out. I mean, I didn't. Obviously, you never know
Yeah.
things are going to work out, but I was just convinced that if I worked hard enough, we were going to make it happen eventually. Like at some point, the scale had to tip the other way, um,
Yeah.
and eventually it did.
Yeah, I had this conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago about really, really going after your goal and being open to how that's gonna happen without planning a lot of expectations on it's gotta be this way, it's gotta look like this, it's gotta come in like this, it's gotta show up like this. And in that way, when you just believe and you follow that goal and you let go of the expectations of how you think rationally or in your head that it's supposed to show up for you, then you create so many other pathways of opportunities and different experiences that you can have to show you, all right, this is a direction. Okay, yeah, I'm still in it. This like you starting out at Jacksonville as an assistant and then going a different direction and then coming back to it after you had a different experience that went, okay, I see the value in this. It's not for me. I need to reassess and let me pull myself back to center. But you never stepped away from what your goal was and what your desire, your passion basically was, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, for sure. And when I got here as a volunteer, like I knew this is what I wanted to do, and this is the place I wanted to be. Um, and yeah, like I said, I just kept working and kept grinding, and just kind of waited patiently for my opportunity, and just kept getting more and more experience and trying to just put myself in a better position so that when an opportunity did arise, like I could jump at it and take advantage of it. And
Yeah.
I think I got really lucky. Just it was such a convenient time and place for me to come back and decide to volunteer.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know it could have worked out any better than it did. Um, but like when it did happen, I was prepared for it. It's not like I was caught off guard by it. Like when the door opened, I was ready to jump at it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I kept working and just ultimately gave myself the best opportunity to get the job once it did open.
Mhm. And I think that's something that speaks to character for many of us. It's like if you just keep believing and you keep working at it and you understand that the right circumstances will present themselves because of your drive and your goal and your focus to stay with it. Like you're not second guessing yourself. Even when you're in a dire strait, you're still like, dude, yeah, I still want to do this. Yeah. So that's pretty meaningful to me. It sounds like it to me. And then the experiences that you get along the way are, I mean, it creates the whole basically. So it's good. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about as a head coach now, you have a couple years under your belt with recruiting outside of COVID. So say we have a potential athlete listening to this talk and they say, "Oh wow, this is great. This is a head coach." What are some things that you look for that you know other head coaches look for that um a student athlete that is pursuing playing their sport at the next level should really keep in mind?
Yeah, I can't speak for everyone else, but for me, really my big recruiting philosophy is I really just try to find the best people that I can, the best
Yeah.
human beings. Um, like I'm confident in my ability to do the volleyball stuff and to train the way I want our team to play.
Right.
So that's not a huge concern for me. Really, it's just getting the right people that fit my values and the current team's values
Mhm.
and what like what kind of people we want to get in the door. And so I look for good students. Like we've had the highest GPA on campus for since I've gotten here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we look for good students and good teammates and people who work hard for the right reasons and people who aren't about me, but like more towards we and
Mhm.
what's what's going to work for the team, not so much what's going to work for me. And then just people that we want to. I mean, if I'm going to have to spend 4 years with these people, I want it to be enjoyable. I want them to
Yeah.
love where they are and what they're doing, and so people who are passionate about Jacksonville and the school we have here and our team that we're building, and um, really just good, high character human beings. And then the
Mhm.
volleyball stuff, like we can figure that stuff out once you get here.
Yeah.
And
No, that's really great. And I think that, that attests to the whole how your sport applies to your life outside of your sport, because after sport, I mean, volleyball will end, you know? For your athletes, they will move on to a different career, likely as not, or and they may coach or come back in some capacity, but for the large majority of them, you're creating helping them realize how to create, rather, I should say, a life outside of that that is indicative of, how sports and life kind of mirror one another. So I love that about the character and the good person kind of situation that you're looking for, because all the other stuff is teachable.
yeah, and I mean, I'm not at a UCLA where like I am have pressure on me to win a national championship, right?
Right.
And so like the volleyball stuff, like most of the girls who reach out anyway are pretty talented, right?
Mhm.
If you're trying to play in college, a lot of the time girls are talented. There's a lot of talented athletes out there, and so that stuff is easy to find.
Yeah.
Um, but like if and I think the group now we have is a good testament to that. Like it took a couple years for us to get it right, or for me to
Yeah.
get it right. But the group we have now is awesome. It's the best group of people that we've had on campus,
Yeah.
um, that I've been a part of, and that makes practices easier. It makes like just it's less stress on everybody, and everyone's having a good time and working hard, getting better, and so like I think finding the right people that fit our values and what we're trying to do, and then teaching them the volleyball stuff. I mean that's the easy part.
Yeah.
And like I can't teach these young women how to be good humans. Like that's if you're 18 and like you're not, then I don't know if this is the place for you, right? And
Right.
so
Right.
it makes my job more fun, and it makes it easier for the girls to get along and connect with one
Mhm.
another and all that stuff. And so
And to create a culture together.
yeah, for sure. And then they're gonna want to play for each other more if they're none of them are jerks, you know. And
Yeah.
so like it definitely helps to have it set up that way.
Absolutely. What, has been out and, like, outside of COVID, like, what has been the hardest part of being a head coach?
All the other stuff, man, all of it. There's my only experience before this was being the volunteer where I just had to do the volleyball stuff. And
Yeah.
so like I don't know what I thought this was gonna be when I took the job, and there's so much there's so much stuff that is not the volleyball stuff. There's so much administrative stuff and like
Yeah.
just everything that's involved with the job. I'm so unorganized all the time. I'm the most unorganized person I always have
Oh,
been. And so for me to get everything that I have to get done in a timely manner is so difficult.
yeah.
And like I just want to hang out with the team and do the volleyball stuff and
Yeah.
do our individual meetings where I just get to spend time with them and get to learn about them and their families and that kind of stuff. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit in my office and work on the computer and
Yeah.
schedule stuff and budget stuff and buy gear and
Well, now
just
you got an assistant, like a true assistant this year that
yeah,
you
and
brought
it's
on.
nice. It's nice,
So
but there's still a lot.
it doesn't take away your responsibility as a head coach. I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
What has
that part's
been
been tough, but
Yeah.
it's
Well, there's a learning curve when you're thrown in like you were 3 weeks into a season. Okay, first of all, that was right there like, "Whoa, what's happening?" Then you go into the whole COVID situation. Again, I've never recruited somebody, and now you're asking me to do it basically blindfolded. So there's that. So yeah, you've had quite an interesting path to get to where you're at now. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think that first year made all these other years a little bit easier because it's
Mhm.
never going to be that hard again. Hopefully, it's never going to
Good
be that hard
point.
again.
That's a
Um,
great point.
and I was very fortunate that our previous indoor staff was so helpful to me. They were in season two, so I know it's tough
Mhm.
on them to kind of. I was just knocking on their office doors every day asking about things because I
Yeah.
literally didn't know anything. There was no like, there's no manual to this. When you get the
Yeah.
job, it's just a lot of people who get the position that I'm in have a lot of prior experience before that, and I didn't. And so they kind of just threw me into it and said, "Good luck,
Yeah.
figure it out."
Figure it out.
And so that whole first year was just figuring it out. And
Mhm.
I mean, I'm still figuring it out 4 years in, but that first year was just like threw me into the deep end without floaties and said, "Learn how to swim. Good luck."
Yeah.
Um, but now it makes it a little easier because I have somewhat of an idea of what I'm doing now, and
Yeah.
like you said, I do have a little bit of help, and um, administration is getting better and better every year as far as like helping me figure stuff out. And
Yeah.
so it is relatively easier, but just I think the organizational stuff is just not me. And so like that's always the most difficult part for me is staying organized and getting things done
I get that.
on schedule.
I get it. I do wanna say though, something that you said, which I really, really struck me is like it's not gonna be that hard again. Like it's not gonna you're not gonna go in that exact none of us can ever do yesterday again. None of us can ever have the same experience of yesterday again. So if you have that kind of basis, that framework going forward, you're like, okay, I handled that. All right, I can bring it. I can handle some more. I can handle it. I got through some stuff like without knowing what I had to go through. It just was poof, all right, here you go. It's like it's like the president of the United States getting elected and they sit them down. I have this visual. I think they sit them down at the big table and they open up this big book and it's like, okay, here's all the stuff that you didn't know about. Figure it out. You
Yeah,
just got
pretty
to make
much. That's pretty much how it was.
Mhm.
I don't know. There was I thought I don't know there was going to be some kind of orientation or training manual or something, but there was that didn't exist, and
Yeah.
so I literally got my company card the day before we left for our first tournament, and
The credit card to use for the team?
yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how much money was on it. I didn't know what my limit was. I didn't know how to make an expense report.
Oh,
So
wow.
I just went and I just used it on everything. And I'm sure our business department probably didn't like that in my first year, but I was like, nobody told me any of this stuff. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And
Yeah.
so you just, I mean, that's volleyball, that's life. You just got to figure it out sometimes. And
Yeah. Yeah, and
we
I think
figured it out.
you figured it out, and you continue to figure it out. Yeah, and you will continue to figure it out. All that being said, what do you think is the biggest blessing or the best thing about your career up to this point? Whether it's college, whether it's prior, whether it's coaching an AVP pro, what do you think is the best thing for you or the biggest blessing that you've had in all of this?
I think it's just the relationships. Like my job is very relationship based,
Mhm.
whether it's club or college or whatever. Like I am spending 6 days a week for 4 years with these student athletes, and it's so cool to get to know everybody and like to get to know you and the families and like all that stuff. Like these are all every year there's a new class of people and a new
Yeah.
like 20 people that I get to meet and hang out with and get to know and get to learn about. And I think that's the most fun. Like I'm gonna get married next year, and half of
Congratulations, by the way.
thank you. And like half
Yep.
the people that are gonna come to my wedding are gonna be people that I met
There
somewhere
you
through the
go.
volleyball course. And so um, like I think that's the easy answer is the relationships. Like there's so many cool people involved with the sport, whether it's on my own team or like other coaches or other people that work at JU, not
Mhm.
related to volleyball, but like our strength coaches, other team coaches, like just the people on campus
Mhm.
and like throughout club and playing and AVP and all that stuff, just to be able to meet all these different people from all these different backgrounds, from all these different areas of the country that otherwise I would never have had an opportunity to meet and get to
Right.
know is so cool. Like we've got girls on our team from Tennessee, from New York, from Canada, from Minnesota, from Florida. Like pick a place, you name it. Like we've
Yeah,
had someone come through here that's been from there, and so like
yeah,
that's I don't know what other places or jobs or scenarios I could put myself in to where there's that many different variety of people in one place that
yeah.
are all working for one common goal. And so that's I think the beauty of sport. But
You're right.
like it just I think that's easily the coolest part of my job and all the different places I've been is just the people.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. Where do you see yourself, say, 5 or even 10 years from now?
Hopefully 5 years from now, I'm entering my ninth season as the head coach here.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. It continues to get better every year, and we're continuing to build a cool thing here. And like we're
Mhm.
getting a new facility sometime in the near future, and
Yeah,
so that's gonna add another layer of excitement. And just as the sport continues to progress, and as like nationally and just on our campus here, as we continue to progress, hopefully it just continues to get better and better, and we don't ever hit like some kind of plateau or whatever, or get discontinued for some reason. But hopefully, the plan is to stay in Jacksonville. Like I
yeah.
am a Division 1 head coach who lives 20 minutes from the beach. Um,
It's
I
pretty
don't think
cool.
there are a lot of places to where you can have that opportunity. So I don't really
Yeah.
plan on leaving anytime soon, unless I get kicked out. But I'm not going to willingly leave for just anything. Hopefully I'm still here and we're still kicking, and hopefully I have like some some cool stuff happen along the way. But
Awesome.
hopefully I'm still in the same spot I'm in now with probably a few more gray hairs sprinkled in my beard.
Yeah, I'm sure. Time marches on. Time
It
marches on.
does.
Yeah. I didn't list this question down, but just kinda just thinking about it, your season's getting ready to kick in. What are you most looking forward to this season? Is there a specific game, a venue, an event, time during the
It's
season?
yeah,
Anything you're looking forward to?
it's all of it. People keep asking me this, and I told the team going into this year that I was not going to have any expectations for the year. We're just going to take it day by day and get better every
Okay.
day. So I
Yeah,
say that, but I'm obviously excited for all of it. We host the first weekend every year. That's always a lot of fun. We have 7 different schools coming to JU the first weekend over the
yeah,
course of 3 days. Huge event. We're hosting some cool schools. There's some top 20 schools coming to JU the first
yeah.
weekend. That'll be exciting. We're going to play at LSU and at Florida State for the first time since
That's
I've been here.
slick. Yes.
Um, yeah, I have never been to the LSU facility, and I know it's one of the cooler places in the country. And so when Russell reached out and asked if people wanted to come play there, I didn't care who was going to be there. I wanted to go play there, and
Oh, yeah.
so we're going to LSU, which will be exciting. I've been
Yeah.
to Florida State a million times, but I've never played a tournament there, so that'll be fun. Um, our favorite trip is always the South Carolina trip at the end of the year. We always go there the last weekend of the season.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Moritz and RJ put together a pretty good tournament, and they've got some pretty good teams coming there this year. So we're excited
Great.
for that one always. And then anytime we get an opportunity to stay at home or be in Jacksonville, whether it's here or UNF, it's always very easy and fun. So
Yeah, your facilities, and I know you said it earlier, but like you're not fibbing about that. That's no joke. I think that was one of the coolest things when I was in the recruiting process with my daughter that plays for you now, and like we were both like, it's just the campus, the area, the courts. Like your courts are on the St. John River. It's beautiful. Like when the sun
yeah,
sets, it's like what is happening? This is gorgeous. It's really
it's
a great
it's pretty
environment.
cool.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool, and I can't wait for everybody to see eventually when the new stuff comes out and is
mhm.
built. So like these courts and poles and stuff have been up here since like 2012 when the program started, and so it's kind of outdated. And so to have 4 brand new courts with upgraded equipment and a new locker room being built for the
Yes,
girls, and for my office to be on this side of campus attached to everything, it's going to be so nice. And
right.
like, it's don't get me wrong, it's the coolest place ever right now. But when the new stuff is all built and it's all like state of the art, brand new stuff, it's
It's gonna be
gonna
an
make this
upgrade.
place, yeah, it's gonna make it 100 times better, which is
Yeah,
hard to imagine as is. Plus, with the new pool that they're building, Like I can't wait. I can't wait to host events. We're trying to
Mhm.
put a bid in to host the conference tournament here once it's all built. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to have a new setup here and to hopefully host like 3 or 4 events a year and get some cool teams to come down and play us. And
Oh,
I
for
think it'll
sure.
help with the draw to get people to come play us, to get recruits on campus, all that stuff. Like and it's gonna be really nice. The girls have been wanting some of the upgrades for a while, and so it'll make their experience better as well, which
Yeah.
helps with everything.
Absolutely helps the whole kit and caboodle, that helps with for sure. Yay. Oh, Dylan, this has been awesome. I talked to you, right, over the course of the past few years, but, like, not sat down and talked to you for, like, "Oh, we're talking for a good hour here. This is great. This has been great. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it."
I've gotta come up to Nashville. Hopefully not when it's rainy and gray and snowy,
Don't
but
yeah, just wait. Come this summer over the summer. Just come when it's nice, because
next
right
year
now
next year when the
it's not.
Jags come play the Titans, I'll have to make a trip.
There you go. With being a Jags fan, I guess we will allow you to come to Tennessee and cheer for the Jags. Yeah, we'll allow it one time. Yeah. Hey, but before I let you go though, I want to throw some rapid fire questions your way just so people can get a little bit different side of your personality. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Question number 1. What is your favorite month and why?
My favorite month is October. I am an October baby. I was born October 17th. I love Halloween and everything that comes with it. I love
Wow.
scary movies, horror movies. Like every year for my birthday, I used to go to Halloween Horror Nights and do all that stuff.
Okay.
Um, I'm a big, yeah, Halloween is my favorite holiday. And
Do you
just,
dress up for Halloween?
um, not anymore, I don't think.
But you like I know that you do like, you have practice for the girls and
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
dress up practice. Do you
we
dress
have,
up for that?
yes, I do, but it's usually something like not very elaborate. It's usually just
Okay.
like put something on my face or a shirt. Um, I used to have a thing where I would dress up as a different variation of Post Malone for Halloween, but I that was when I had long hair and I could pull it off, but
Okay.
I don't think it'll work anymore. But I used to dress up for stuff, but not usually anymore.
Okay.
I let the girls do that for me.
There you go. Hey, you know what? Next year you should let them choose your costume.
That's a good idea, honestly.
I think that'd be
As long as
fun.
it's not like something crazy, but
Well, you'd have to
yeah,
probably put parameters on that, I think.
that's a good idea. I might have to do that.
Yeah. Throw it out there. Your players may not be happy with me suggesting that, or maybe they would be. I don't know.
I think they'll love it. Yeah, if they get to pick, because I try to pick, and it's usually something really stupid, and so I'm sure they would make it
Oh, they
something
would spend time.
ridiculous
They would
that
invest time in creating this for you.
I would hate it, but they would love it.
They would. It'd be great. All right, question number 2. What is the dumbest dare that you have ever agreed to?
Do people still do dares? Is that a
I mean,
thing
I
still?
don't know, it could be any time during your life.
Um, I don't know if I remember one. I'm kind of a chicken when it comes to that stuff.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever agreed to do some crazy dare.
Well, there's your answer. Yeah.
No, I'm kind of
Okay.
a chicken. I don't really do stuff if people dare me to do stuff because it's usually something ridiculous that I'm not gonna
Somebody's daring
do.
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know guys in guy terms, a lot of times, like, my husband would talk about stuff that happened with him in high school, and he's like, "Dude, I can't believe that, like, we survived, yada, yada, dare me to do this." And I'm like, "That's such a guy code thing." I just no, no,
N-
not going there.
no, I think it was no. I was usually probably the one daring people to do stuff, not the one doing the dare.
Ah, okay. Well, there you go. There's our answer. There's our answer. Alright, we're gonna move on. Question number 3. If your pet could talk, what would they say about you?
Hopefully, good things. I think he would say my oldest cat, my new. We have a kitten. We've had him for like 3 weeks, and
Oh,
he hasn't been around long enough to get a grouse. He's too crazy. But
okay.
the older cat, I hope that he would say that I'm kind and loving and give him a good
Okay.
home. I think he would say that I'm comfortable. He sleeps on me or
Oh,
directly next to me every night.
okay.
So hopefully he would say that I'm comfortable to sleep on and that. we have provided him with a good experience for his little cat life.
Okay, and so the kitten is still yet to be determined.
Yeah, he's a nut. He's crazy. He's always running around and screaming, and he's got too much energy. We can't. We just moved and we just got engaged, and it's just like I don't know why
There's
we
a lot.
decided to get a kitten right now.
Yeah,
I mean, we love him. He's awesome and he's adorable, but he's a lot right now.
yeah.
So hopefully he'll settle in a little bit as he gets older. But
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sure.
he's.
But you got a lot going on right now, it sounds like, so yeah.
I mean, I have a lot going on all the time, so it's really not anything out of the ordinary. So I might have to adapt my schedule to the kid as opposed to him adapting to us.
Okay, there you go. That's a good plan. Yeah. Alright, question number 4. Who has been your favorite boss and why?
He might be my current boss, honestly,
Ah,
and I'm not saying that to get brownie points
okay.
or anything like that. Obviously, that helps, but I'm not doing it for that reason.
Yeah,
Um, Alex Ricker Gilbert, our athletic director, has been awesome since I've gotten here. He provides us as head coaches with a lot of freedom to kind of do things as we want to do them. Like I
mhm.
never feel pressured or I never feel like someone's looking over my shoulder or micromanaging or anything. Um, he allows us to be us and to do the things that we want to do and that we feel right for our programs,
Yeah,
and has been helpful with providing like every year that I've been here. The administration has provided us with more resources and more help, and so like it continues to get better and better every year,
well, that's great.
um, and so yeah, like I feel very free to be able to express myself with the team how I feel like I need to and hire the people that I want to put around our program, and
Yeah,
there's never really been any restriction on what I can or can't do
that's great.
within reason as far as like doing stuff with the team and traveling and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And so it's been good. It kind of makes me feel like I'm my own boss. I'm allowed to do a lot of stuff that I want to, and then
yeah,
if I need help with anything, I can just reach out to administration. And if if I have a plan and I have something laid out to where I can meet them halfway or something, then they're pretty responsive and helping us with stuff. And so it's it makes it easy, and like I said, there's no pressure to do anything or perform a certain way, and as long as we're doing right by the girls, then I think us as coaches are pretty free to do pretty much whatever we want with our programs.
yeah. No, that's a great place to be, and that's awesome that you have that rapport with your boss like that. And yeah, you kind of are your own boss, basically. You got in within this pod, the Dolphins pod. Do you see what I did
That
there?
was good. That was good.
At the Jacksonville University. All right, I will one more question and I'll let you go. What is a lesson that took you a long time to learn?
Oh my gosh, a long time. I think the thing that took me the longest to realize was that the world is not out to get me. I battled for a long time with thinking that like my back was up against the wall and it was me against the world, and
Mhm.
I was like steadfast on this hardcore like I gotta prove everybody wrong and nobody believes me. Whatever the case may be, like I for a long time kind of felt like I was just self reliant and I
Mhm.
needed to do everything on my own and there was no support for me, and even if there was support for me, I probably didn't accept it, and so it was very draining to put all my energy into something and not be getting energy fed back into me or not allowing any energy to kind of
Yeah.
be pushed back in my way. And so it took me a while, but um, again, I'm not saying this to get brownie points, but I will take whatever brownie points I can get, but I'm not doing it for that reason.
Yeah.
Um, my fiance Erin has been a big help in that, and just kind of helping me realize that like she's put a lot of energy into me, and that kind of fills
Mhm.
my bucket and allows me to put energy into my career. And
Yeah.
um, not just her, but like my family and friends that are in my close group have done the same as far as like being able to recharge my batteries and help me and support me in my decisions and my career that I spend a lot of time and energy into. And um, like now I can have a full bucket almost all the time because I am spending a lot of time and energy into all this stuff, and I'm getting a lot of that put back into it by other sources. And
Mhm.
so it took me a while, but it is very nice to have a support system and
Yes.
like to not have to feel like it's your back's against the wall and you got to
Yeah.
go do all this stuff on your own. And
Yeah.
so to have like support and a group of people backing me in my decisions, and even though I might not be home all the time and I'm very busy with my career, and everyone seems to be very understanding of that, and they love me anyway, even though I'm not home all the time. And
Yeah.
so that's cool. And like it again, it's very gratifying, and helps with my day to day stuff when I know I can go home and have a support system and I don't have to
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
be alone. And so being alone slash the world's not always out to get you,
Yeah.
kind of thing was what I kind of dealt with a lot as I started my career to maybe just up until a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big lesson, I think, for anybody. And I think that with as self-reliant as you had to be on yourself, it just became kind of your regular normal path. So then when you do get some freedom and some space, if you will, and like some things start happening, you're going, okay, maybe I can kind of let go of some of that. I don't need that's some of the stuff that I don't need. You kind of go through your checklist, like what's working, what's not working. Yeah. So good stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, it's been great. Are you you're off to practice next? Is that what's happening?
We have lift in like 45 minutes and then we have practice afterwards. But
Okay.
I we're in week 3. I still haven't quite got a grasp of my schedule.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. I'm kind of just flying by the seat of my pants. I told you I'm not organized and I don't know what's happening. I know I have to be here today,
Well, I
and
can
then
see where you are. You're right there. You're ready.
yeah, I know I'm gonna see the girls at some point today. I don't know where or what in what capacity, but
Yeah.
um, I know that I do have to be on campus today. So
Well, you're ahead of the curve because you're there right now.
yeah, I am here and I'm ready. So I'm ready for whatever the day has in store for me.
That's great.
And then I don't know. I We have such a long winter break that it just kind of throws me out of whack.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
girls go home for like 2 months, and then I'm like, when school starts back up, I'm like, I don't know how to spend my days anymore.
Or what
So
day it is. What time it
yeah,
is.
yesterday I didn't know what day it was, and I asked them. I said, "How are we feeling on whatever day today is?" And somebody said Thursday, and I said, "Are you sure?" Because it was Wednesday, but somebody else said Thursday. So it's not just me. It's they're doing it too,
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
and
Well,
all
man,
blends together.
it's been so great to catch up with you and to talk to you and learn more about you and hear about your story and how you've gotten to where you are now. I think it's a real testament to staying tenacious, staying after it, staying oriented about what it is that your passion is and keeping that as a priority. And this is my plan A. There is no plan B. You know, this is my plan A. And you're going to make it happen. So I do believe that that stubbornness you talked about earlier is it's probably serving you really well.
I think so in certain realms, not maybe not all of them, but in
Yeah.
this one it does.
Yes. We'll specify. In this one, it absolutely has for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of the week. Good weekend. All the stuff as you're leading up to your season. Let's go Fins. Go Dolphins. I'm excited to watch your opening. Oh, that's the end of February. Yeah. So it gets like around the corner. Around the corner.
It's yeah, like 4 weeks from tomorrow. It's coming up quick.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, it's going to be an exciting season with all the places that you're going and all the people that you're going to meet and all the players that you're going to play against and the matches are going to happen. It's going to be great. I'm excited for you.
Thanks. We're excited too. It should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Have a great day.
You have a better day.
Oh, well, I will. Thanks, Dylan.